Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I'm sorry we're late. You'll be impressed with my graphics that I was getting lined up, and you will excuse me for my tardiness. As you all know, I am a nerd, and you are here today for one of our monthly Coffee Pot webinar series. Today we're talking about the quote-unquote best way to get all of Tabs3 and PracticeMaster into the cloud. Now, there are already ways to get Tabs and PracticeMaster into the cloud. We'll kind of briefly discuss that. We're going to focus on one specific way that applies to everybody, people that have Platinum, people that don't, people that have other things that they need in the cloud, people that don't. And that's what we're going to talk about. So, without further ado, let's talk about Tabs and PracticeMaster. Tabs and PracticeMaster are programs that run on a computer. Now, in the past, we've had computers in your office, 1, 2, 3, 4, however many you have, and they are all hooked to a server. So this server serves as the place where Tabs and PracticeMaster live. Now, the server also holds your Word documents or your Excel spreadsheets. Maybe you run a bankruptcy package. You probably run Microsoft Outlook for your email, and maybe this server serves as your Exchange server. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. But maybe this server also controls your email. You might have several servers. I've only got one in my picture because, as you know by my tardiness, I was desperately trying at the last minute to get my slides to line up. But nonetheless, you've got a bunch of computers sitting on people's desks, and they're tied into this server. And when people are sitting at their desks, they can access all the stuff that you've got. Now, we all know that Tabs3 and PracticeMaster, if you are on the Platinum version, they have this thing called Tabs3 Connect. And Tabs3 Connect puts certain aspects of PracticeMaster and the fee entry module of PracticeMaster, which of course passes through to Tabs, onto your desktop, but also into the cloud. So you can look at clients, you can look at contacts, you can look at your calendar and other people's calendars. You can look at your contacts and everybody else's contacts in PracticeMaster. You can look at the Matter Manager, and you can enter time, all through the cloud using a smartphone, a tablet, a computer at home, whatever it is that you need. But many of us on our networks at the office have other stuff that runs on that network. You've got Word, you've got Excel. Maybe you have Best Case Bankruptcy or one of the other bankruptcy packages. Maybe you have video depositions that you've stored on your network that you can view when you're there. Maybe you have Outlook tied into PracticeMaster, tied into something else. Maybe you have integration between PracticeMaster and Worldox. Maybe you have integration between PracticeMaster and iManage. You've built a little place on your network where everything's all lined up and everything is all ready to go. Now, we have these other devices. We have these tablets, and we have people that are working from home, and they're working from Starbucks, no matter what color their coffee cups happen to be. We have people working from other people's offices. These are not tied into your network. Now, your network's tied into the cloud. You can get to the internet from your network. But still, these people, for the most part, depending on how you set things up, they can't get to all that stuff. So even if you have Tabs3 Connect running, you can load up a Tabs3 Connect on your iPad and access your contacts, but you couldn't print a bill. And you couldn't go in and generate a document in PracticeMaster. Or you couldn't run a report that you've written in PracticeMaster that lets you see all your currently open matters that have statute dates running within the next 3 months. Or you couldn't print a timekeeper productivity report. There are so many things you can't do, not just in Tabs3 and PracticeMaster, but you can't access your Word documents. You can't access your Excel spreadsheets, your Best Case Bankruptcy, your iManage, your Worldox, okay? Now, you may have certain other elements of what's going on over here put out in the cloud. Maybe you've got Worldox Web Mobile, so you kind of got access to Worldox. But if you add a matter in the cloud in Tabs3 Connect, which another thing you can't do, okay? So it's not going to sync over to Worldox. There are so many things you can't do with the current state of cloud-based applications for the things that you're already running here. You've built this little well-connected set of software over here. Your Worldox talks to your PracticeMaster. It integrates with your Word and your Excel and stores your documents. Your PracticeMaster integrates with Exchange and pushes your calendar and your contacts out to your smartphone. You've built this little world over here, and then we've got these places over here, the homes, the coffee shops, the other people's offices, the tablets, other computers at other places, other internet-connected devices at other places. And although there are some aspects of putting the things you're doing over here in the cloud, what we find people doing more of these days is moving their entire desktop into the cloud so that everybody, no matter where they are, you take your server, you put it in the cloud. Now, we have seen people doing this with limited success on their own servers, on their own site. And what I am talking about today is taking everything off your server and putting in a server that's in a very highly available, fast, highly connected server in a data center that's got military-grade security. Now, there are many companies that'll do this. There's On the Net Office. There's ACS, Attorney Computer Systems, has their own ACS private cloud. There are lots of companies that can take your server and put it into the cloud. So I'm not really, yes, I'd like you to consider using our service, but what I'm talking about today here is merely the concept of taking your entire server and putting it into a very highly available, very highly protected, and very secure and very fast server that's on the web. Now, you can, as I said, you can take and put your server in the cloud from your office, but there are a lot of problems going on there. You've got your own internet connection that may or may not be extremely high grade. You've got the security issues of whether or not you're taking your server and exposing it to the cloud like that is really a good idea, given that you may not have the technological prowess to do that. You've got the fact that you are not set up on diesel-generated backup power systems so that if power goes out, your server is no longer available, not only to your office workers, but also to anybody that's out in the cloud. So the idea that I'm presenting today is to take everything that you're doing on your desktops and put it out in the cloud, and then you access it from the cloud when you're in the office, when you're at home, when you're in someone else's office, when you're at a coffee shop, when you are simply sitting on a bench on a street corner with your iPad or your Android tablet. Any internet-connected device, including those in your office. Now, what you're doing then is you're taking the responsibility for managing everything about your infrastructure and putting it in the hands of people that are highly qualified to do that, and you're putting it in a data center that's got all the things I just described, a very high military-grade level of security, a very high-speed connection, a very uninterruptible power source, and making it available to everyone all the time. So you wouldn't have Word and Worldox and Tabs and PracticeMaster on these desktops that live in your office. You wouldn't have them on the computer, the laptop computer that you take to your clients or that you take to the coffee shop. You wouldn't have Word and Tabs and PracticeMaster on the computer that's at your home. You wouldn't have it on your tablet. It would all be on this machine, and everyone, your office workers, your workers when they're at home, if they're allowed to, your attorneys or paralegals when they're out in the field on an iPad or they're in a coffee shop or they're in another person's office, everyone accesses these desktops that live on this server in the cloud. Now, what does that look like? If you've ever attended any of our webinars or our virtual user group meetings before, you've seen it. I'm going to get out of PowerPoint, and I'm going to take you to Tabs, and I'm there. I'm going to show my desktop. This is a desktop that is not on the computer that I'm sitting at. This desktop does not reside on a server that's in my office. This desktop resides on a server at the acsPrivateCloud facility in Virginia. It's 3 stories deep in a basement with concrete walls that are so thick that I don't even think a nuclear explosion would get through them, with diesel-generated power backup, with the highest speed connectivity coming into the facility, so that any time that I need this desktop, it's there. And I'm not saying that ours are the only ones that have this level of security, this level of availability, this level of uninterruptibility. Most of the good cloud providers can do this, but I'm presenting a concept. I'm presenting a concept of taking your desktop, everything that you do, Worldox, iManage, Tabs, PracticeMaster, the AP, GL, and Trust programs, Outlook, Word, Excel, everything you do, your bankruptcy software, your trial presentation software, your litigation support software, everything that you do to run your office and putting it in a server that's in the cloud and always accessible. Now, if you've tried this sort of approach before with your own server in your own office and you've been unsuccessful with the results, that's not because the concept is flawed. That's because the level of accessibility to your server in your office from the outside world is not what we're talking about here. This particular server, let's pop up Outlook, let's pop up Father Jack's personal ramblings from Washington. Do you see how quickly these things are responding to me as I move things around? This is all happening over an internet connection. If I go into Google and go to Attorney Computer Systems, this is all happening over an internet connection to this stored server. And so all the things that I may want to do, like look at the picture of my crossed arms JPEG, is going to happen very, very quickly. So if you've tried this in the past with your own servers, part of the problem is that it has not been implemented over a high-speed data connection with the right level of security. If you've had experiences with lags, it's because of the way it's been implemented. It's not the concept that's flawed, it's the implementation. What we're doing, instead of putting the server into your office, is to put it someplace else where we know we're always going to have that high-speed, highly secure connection, always accessible. This never goes down. So how does it work? Let me take you to, I'm going to simply go to something called Remote Desktop Connection. And I'm going to log in to acsPrivateCloud.com. Okay. Sorry for the delay there, guys. Okay. So here we have PracticeMaster, Tabs, QuickBooks, Dropbox, Legal Solutions, Best Case Bankruptcy, and all the applications that you would have like Word. So when I go into Word, I am going into Word on a system that is sitting somewhere else. And if I save this document while I'm at a client's office, and then I call my secretary and ask her to look at it or change it or pull it up and print it, it's going to be there. If I pull up my Outlook and I decide that I want to send an email, and it's set to journal that email into PracticeMaster when I send it, why, that's going to happen. If I'm out of the office and I'm sending an email on my iPad or my iPhone, it doesn't pop up and ask me to put it in PracticeMaster or Worldox or iManage, wherever you happen to put your emails. Here it would. If I am set so that my PracticeMaster syncs with my Outlook, and I go into PracticeMaster and add a new contact, and that Outlook, of course, is then set to sync through to my phone, and I add a new contact right here and tell it to go to my phone, even though I'm sitting in a Starbucks 14 miles away from my office, if I go into PracticeMaster and add a contact and tell it to sync through to my phone, it's going to sync through to my phone right now. If I pull my phone out just a few minutes later, that contact's going to be there. If I go into PracticeMaster and add an appointment because I'm sitting in a client's office and they say, I want to meet with you and your partner, Bob, next week, Tuesday at 9 o'clock. If I go into PracticeMaster right here on my hosted desktop at my client's office and enter that appointment, and Bob, my partner, is sitting at his desk in our office, he will see that appointment seconds later. If I take a document that I've created while I'm sitting at this client's office in Word, in the same desktop that I work at when I'm sitting at my office, and save it, and then call that partner, Bob, and say, hey, we have a meeting with this client next Tuesday at 9 o'clock, and he wants you to start working on the amendment, the changes that need to be made to the third paragraph right now so you can fax it to him before I leave. Bob will see that document. Bob will be able to work on it and save it, and when I get back to the office, I'll be looking at the same version that I originally saved to the desktop, that Bob then worked on, and that then I get back and look at. The point is, we're taking the place that we work from, the desktop that we work from, and putting it out there so that I can get to it no matter where I am. So that when I pull up this desktop from a Starbucks, I am looking at the same desktop that I pull up when I look at it from my office, and it's the same desktop that I look at when I'm at home in front of the TV at 8 o'clock at night, and it's the same desktop that I look at when I'm sitting in an airport waiting for a plane. It's not a matter of putting certain things out in the cloud so that people can access them. It's a matter of putting your entire desktop out in the cloud. A lot of advantages to this. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. A lot of advantages to this. You are able, by doing this, to almost reduce the cost of what you're paying for your internal IT to the point that it pays for having these desktops in the cloud. But they are significantly more secure. They're significantly faster. They're significantly more accessible from any location. You don't need to pay for anything internal IT-wise in your office anymore except for the computer on your desk and a router to hook it into, which you already have, and that internet connection, which you already have. Now, people say, what if the internet goes down in my office? We do advise that you have a second connection to the internet. It's not expensive these days. In fact, what we're finding is many people that have had the same connection to the internet for 10 years, 12 years, 8 years, whatever, are able to get a better, faster, cheaper connection simply by bringing a second connection in. The provider that sold you this connection to the internet 10 years ago at a certain price is not going to lower that price or change your service because they've got you locked in. They've got you kind of in the state of not wanting to change it because you don't want to go through the hassle. But the technology has changed. Things have gotten faster. Prices have gotten lower. So it behooves you to go out and get that second internet connection, make that your primary, and then replace what's currently your primary because you're probably A, paying too much for it, and B, not getting enough responsiveness. So you do need to have some sort of a backup for your internet connection. Now, for a lot of people, I work exclusively on an iPad with a keyboard. It's an extremely flexible way to work because I can flip this iPad open. It's instantly on. It's instantly connected to the network because it's on AT&T's network, as well as on my wireless network when I'm at home, when I'm at Starbucks, whatever the case may be. As long as your connection is good, that wireless connection is secure. The connection back to your office is secure. But if my wireless connection, my internet goes down at my home, at my office, anywhere, at Starbucks, their wireless goes down, I instantly switch over to the AT&T network. So for some people, that backup connection is the fact that their laptop or their iPad or their Android tablet is connected to the internet through a cellular connection. For others, that's a matter of making sure that they have a good, solid secondary connection within their office. But by taking not just aspects of your desktop, not just parts like Tabs3 Connect does or Worldox Web Mobile, not just parts of Worldox, not just parts of Tabs3, not just parts of PracticeMaster, but the entire desktop and putting it in the cloud. You're able to do it less expensively than getting up to Platinum. You're able to do it with much better connectivity, meaning your applications are all there. You can do everything you need to do in everything, and they're already hooked together the way you've got them hooked together. You're able to access that from anywhere, and you're usually able to do it for either just a little bit more than what you're paying now for all the technology that you already have that you're going to get rid of, or in some instances, a little bit less. So you can have all the advantages of putting everything in the cloud and having it accessible everywhere, and do it for sometimes many times less than what you're currently paying for that technology and the people to maintain it. Of course, that depends on what kind of technology you have in the office server-wise and how you are hiring the people to maintain it. Some people have in-house people, some people have people that are coming in from the outside. And so those variables figure into how much you're going to save or how little more you're going to pay per month to get this service. I can tell you that our service and comparable services, you're going to pay about $200 per month to have your server in the cloud and about $60 per month to have your users' desktops in the cloud. So for a typical 5-person office, you're looking at roughly $500 per month to put stuff into the cloud. What you also get out of that is that your email is now not hosted on a server in your office, so you've got the Exchange server moving out to the cloud too. So that is the concept. That is what I wanted to present to you today. This is called hosted desktops. Some people call it a remote desktop connection. We call it hosted desktops. It's taking the entire desktop that you are used to getting from your server, from your office machine, and putting it everywhere. That's it for today. Let's take a look real quick at what's coming up or how to get there. If you go to attorneycomputersystems.com, you will find our video section where you can see all of our videos, including the 4 live events, the Tabs3, PracticeMaster, and Worldox virtual user groups, and the Coffee Pot webinars, which is what you're attending right now. If you would like to see what's coming up next, it's to be determined. I thought we had this figured out. I guess not. If you'd like to see what's coming up next, you can come here and see what the next date is and time, and usually what the topic is. I have a feeling it's going to be about Tabs3 and PracticeMaster version 18, but we have to wait and make sure that it's going to be out by then. That's got your registration link. All of our content is here as well. So as you scroll down, you'll see recorded versions of all the past live events, in this instance, the Coffee Pot webinar series. And so you can come to our website and see just about everything we've ever done online, plus the things that we record here that aren't live presentations, like the Mary Jo Z-Bytes video series, which she records one of each about Tabs, PracticeMaster, and Worldox, so 3 are recorded a month. We have the Paul and Mary Jo show, and of course our 4 live events. So that's it for today. Everybody have a good rest of the month, and we will see you here next month when hopefully we'll be talking about Tabs3 and PracticeMaster version 18. Thanks much. Everybody have a good day. Bye-bye.